One of the horrible things about losing somebody that you love is that this process wrenches them away from you and also deprives you all of a sudden or over time, either way, deprives you of your own role as protagonist in your own life, in your own narrative. And this is one of the most dreadful aspects, is that not only do you not have that loved one anymore before you, you don't even quite have yourself before you, because you have come to know yourself as one who can sculpt the meaning of her or his own life. And now suddenly you have no agency anymore. So what I found to be the crucial project of doing something with your grief, not just passively going through it, although a lot of the time you just have to do that, but finding a way to use all the energy, all the industry that you have, and to channel it in a direction that can be significant and productive and fruitful for you, is that you have to find a way to take back that relationship, to reassemble it, to manifest it, if only symbolically, once again. And I say if only symbolically, even though we all know that most of the meaningful things in life are only symbolic. Think of marriage, think of language, think of art, think of, heck, think of thinking itself. Our thoughts are not somehow the things themselves, they're a representation of things. So you need to re-embrace, through whatever means you have, recreate and re-embrace that, not only the person, but the relationship, the thing, the creature that you made together with this person, to bring it back, to know it, to encounter it, and to hold on to it for dear life for as long as you damn well please, and only then to, on your own terms and at your own moment and in your own way, to decide how to let it go again, as the protagonist of your own life. Having said that, I want to add, and as we all know who've been through anything like this, though the world may have this simplified conception of letting go, there is no such thing as letting go. Or if there is, it's instead a process of 10,000 partial lettings go through a variety of means, and then the next morning you wake up and you start on the next 10,000. During the first couple of years, and to some extent then ever afterward, I became enamored of and even famished for stories of others who had gone through terrible loss, and how they had, in some very particular way, tailored to themselves and to the loved one whom they had lost, tailored rituals. I know a woman whose husband flew old Russian fighter jets, and one time he met a man at the airport in Texas, and apparently the man convinced him that he, the man, had also flown many hours in these aircraft, and so he was allowed by this woman's husband to fly in the pilot's seat, and the husband was found later in the co-pilot seat, and there was a deadly crash, big fireball. And the woman said that the only way she could make sense of why her husband had allowed this to happen was that he must have lost his marbles. And so now when she goes to his grave, she will often bring a small bag of marbles and then take them out and press them one by one into the soil above his grave. Now, that's just so sort of silly, but also so human and so dear, and I love it so much. And there's one of the parents who lost a child at Columbine the poor kid who lay and bled to death on the sidewalk out in front of the school when rescue workers didn't feel that it was safe to come and pick them up. She has since obtained that very segment of sidewalk, installed it in her backyard, and put over it a glider rocker so that she can sit and just rock over that sidewalk. The sports writer Frank DeFord many years ago lost his daughter Alex at age, I think, 8 to cystic fibrosis. The day she died, she asked for root beer, which he found strange because she never had a taste for root beer before. So of course he ran right out to the store and he got not just a little container of root beer, but a huge, jug of it, and he brought it back, and she only was able to have a little sip, and then she died later that day. And that night, he writes in his great book, he went outside. He couldn't just leave this root beer sitting in the fridge next to the ordinary objects. He took this big jug and he went outside, and it was a perfectly star-covered, brilliant night, and he walked around and around the house, pouring the root beer out into the yard where Alex had played earlier when she'd had the strength. And there was something so infinitely gorgeous to me about the gestures that people find to make. And I'm here to help anybody through the experience of bringing to language their truth in this journey. There is something to be prized in making something out of the nothingness that is this kind of primordial loss. My father 7 years ago now was supposed to get off an airplane in Burlington, Vermont, and I met him the plane, that is, at midnight, and waited, and people got off, and he did not, and he was dead in his apartment. And a couple days later, a Federal Express truck drove up my driveway, and no, it didn't have something from my dad, but the truck driver got out and gave me whatever he had to give me, and noticed that I was crying, and I told him what had happened, and he spent 45 minutes with me telling me about his own father's death. And at the end of it, we both hugged each other. He had gone through all the ways that he found to still feel close to his father after the death, and he had particularly expressed the importance of the first few weeks and months, and he said, now I'm going to give you this advice, and it's going to sound a little strange, but savor it. And I guess if I could leave you with anything, it would be that there is a way for each of you to find, to savor what you're going through, even alongside all the aspects of it that couldn't be farther from nourishing, from sustaining, from savoring.